Did DeleteLawZ DeCastro give up on rebranding? What was he doing promoting a minor on his channel? Is he our future leader for real? Regan Benson sinks to a new low in her war with Englewood, Colorado. Is her swastika usage taking things too far? Floyd Wallace overshares in a big way about his sex life. Plus, is panhandling a First Amendment issue? Good morning, and welcome to another edition of the Auditing Insanity Newscast powered by ReallyCoolNews. This is a combined newscast for November 5th and November 6th, 2024. I'm Johnny Jones with a quick reminder that both our newsletter and our daily newspaper remain free for all. There's no paywall or anything else preventing participation. When we ask for donations, promote our products, or even ask for help with basic things like our wet cat food drive, we're not doing it to be greedy or to profit. We're doing it to survive. We've yet to crack the YouTube algorithm, and we've been fully transparent with our YouTube earnings. Check out the receipts area of our Discord server for more. When we say it's your donations keeping us going and literally keeping the lights on, we mean it, and we are more than thankful for your help in these trying times. Writing the news and producing newscasts can be a full-time job. The free press isn't always free, as members of the press still have bills to pay and deserve some sort of compensation as well. Even hacks like us. However, donations are not required. If you'd like to help us out, sharing the stories, liking, subscribing, even taking 30 seconds to watch one of our pre-video advertisements goes a long way to ensuring that we stick around. Telling people about us, getting interest in our product, and sharing your thoughts, both good and bad, about our channel helps immensely and is something you can do without putting up more than your time. With that speechy speech over, and we'll ask you to focus on
DeleteLawZ promotes teenaged auditor. YouTuber Jose Chili DeCastro had a rare guest for his Tuesday night live stream as the YouTuber known as First Amendment Protection Agency joined him for the nearly 2-hour live stream. The pair were promoting the channel of a First Amendment auditor known as First Amendment Advocate, who is a 15-year-old boy from Massachusetts who was recently detained by police while on an audit. In the footage uploaded by First Amendment Advocate and shared by DeCastro, the teenager attempts to audit the outside of a bank when staff at the bank call the police. The youngster followed all of the guidelines as presented by DeCastro and First Amendment Protection Agency. He remained calm when the police arrived, announced he was on a First Amendment audit, then tried to stay calm with the police explained he couldn't be standing in the middle of the road filming. DeCastro and First Amendment Protection Agency both disagreed with the police, claiming it was a universal law that where there is no sidewalk provided the road is considered a public easement and the child was within his rights to film from the easement. The video was abruptly cut off when the child announced that he was detained. He provided no updates as to if he was arrested or otherwise charged with a crime. The officer presumably detained him until his parents were called and picked him up from the scene, corresponding to what the police explained their policy was when dealing with minors. Again, the older auditors declared that the police were wrong and that the 15-year-old had the same rights as an adult. They encouraged him to get in touch with an attorney and to sue the police for the detainment as a federal civil rights case. First Amendment Protection Agency then pledged that he would go to the bank later this week to replicate the boy's audit. DeCastro offered him the use of his lawyer friend in the Massachusetts area and implied that he would soon be using that friend to make a new filing of his own. First Amendment Protection Agency and DeCastro directed DeCastro's 120 viewers to First Amendment Advocate's YouTube channel and managed to double the subscribers to the channel during his 2-hour broadcast. DeCastro announced that despite rumors he and his dog Charlie do not live in his studio. He then cut the live stream short as he said he needed to go get Charlie from the vet as Charlie is being treated for an inflamed pancreas and deathly ill.
Honor Your Oath arrested for panhandling. YouTuber Honor Your Oath Civil Rights Investigations was arrested in Daytona Beach Shores, Florida, on Sunday for soliciting without a permit when he asked a Daytona Beach Shores police officer for money on a public sidewalk. The YouTuber was protesting a Daytona Beach Shores city ordinance that prohibits soliciting without a permit or panhandling within the city limits. Honor Your Oath deemed the ordinance unconstitutional as he claims that panhandling is a protected act under the First Amendment. Honor Your Oath was accompanied by YouTuber James Madison Audits, who also filmed the interaction with the police from a safe distance away. The footage released by both YouTubers features the officers explaining to Honor Your Oath that he needed a permit to solicit money in public. The officers again explained the ordinance as Honor Your Oath asks both officers if he can have some money. When he affirmed that he would continue to solicit them for money despite the ordinance, he was arrested. According to Honor Your Oath's YouTube page, he was detained by police for 2.5 hours and then released for unknown reasons while he was being transported to the Volusia County Jail. James Madison Audits picked him up to give him a ride back to his wife. It is unclear, as of press time, if Honor Your Oath will be filing a First Amendment lawsuit based on his arrest. According to the Free Speech Center at Middle Tennessee State University, the 1980 case of Schomburg versus Citizens for a Better Environment established that panhandling is protected speech under the First Amendment. However, since that decision, the United States Supreme Court has allowed crackdowns on public begging. While an anti-panhandling ordinance in Daytona Beach, Florida, was found to be unconstitutional in July of 2024, the Daytona Beach Shores Ordinance remains in place. The ordinance reads, "It shall be unlawful for any solicitor, agent, or peddler, as defined in this chapter, to solicit property or financial assistance of any kind, or directly to sell or offer to sell any article, tax, service, emblem, publication, ticket, advertisement, subscription, or anything of value on the streets, sidewalks, or other public property in the city, or in any private dwelling, apartment, or other place of residence, or in any motel, hotel, tourist accommodation, or timeshare, condominium, or on any commercial property, unless such person shall have first obtained a solicitor's permit from the city." Punishment for violation of the ordinance includes a fine of $500, up to 60 days in jail, or both.
Did DeCastro already give up on product rebranding? Fans of Jose Chili DeCastro were curious Tuesday night as he referred to his newly launched First Amendment Auditor channel, formerly his planned flagship of his auditing empire, as his new backup channel. DeCastro's comments came as he was interviewing fellow First Amendment auditor First Amendment Protection Agency on his live stream and were the first acknowledgement of trouble brewing with his planned pivot to teaching First Amendment auditing. It was announced by DeCastro in late September that his main channel was shadow banned by YouTube to the point where it was nearly worthless. Changes in both YouTube's algorithm and serious crackdowns on content featuring violence had essentially crippled his financial growth with the channel. For once, DeCastro was telling the truth. While all auditing channels suffered severe declines in August to early September based on YouTube's changes, only DeCastro's has continued to decline as he has refused to pivot to feature less extreme content. Currently, DeCastro has been flat on subscribers for his main channel for the past 30 days. He had briefly moved from 623,000 to 624,000 subscribers over the weekend, only to have 1,000 subscribers unsubscribe by Monday morning, returning him to 623,000 total subscribers. According to Social Blade, DeCastro's video views for the past 30 days continue to decline, down 45.3% to 3.181 million views, and his low-end revenue for the month is pegged at $795. That is the lowest we've seen their estimate go for a channel with such a huge subscriber base. While DeCastro's subscriber base has always been in question, critics note that attendance at his live events and video views never seem to improve as he adds hundreds of thousands of new subscribers. The declines seem to have come as DeCastro has all but abandoned his previous reliance on YouTube Shorts to bring video views. We also know that DeCastro apparently has had the bigger plan to unite First Amendment auditors by literally trademarking the term and licensing usage of it to others in the field. The rebrand to First Amendment Auditor and abandoning his primary channel seems to have been a large part of the plan. That said, DeCastro's first attempt at rebranding to escape the confines of YouTube's reach, his Patreon page, failed spectacularly last month. Drawing only 53 members with 4 of them currently paying, DeCastro was unable to convince his massive followers to make the jump to Patreon. Likewise, his announced First Amendment Auditor page has drawn 398 total subscribers in the week and a half it's been live on YouTube. DeCastro has already at least temporarily abandoned posting new videos on the channel and in fact, removed one of the few videos on the channel as he accidentally doxed his studio's new location in the video. At the same time he launched his Patreon page, he also launched his TeamDeleteLawZ.com website, which has all content under a paywall. As a privately owned website, sign-up figures are not available. Speculation has been that the site is tanking as DeCastro's ability to promote his product outside of his YouTube home seems to be holding him back. In fact, observers have noted that DeCastro's only real successes over the past year have come in his GoFundMe campaigns. The YouTuber managed to bring in a little over $50,000 in donations from his fans before suspending his multiple campaigns in September. With his new website apparently floundering, new channel not even to the point of monetization after a week and his Patreon literally withering away, DeCastro may turn to crowdsourcing to stay afloat until he can get back on his feet and find something that works. In a sneaky plug, our own ongoing expenses campaign took Monday with a $70 donation to our GoFundMe campaign. The market was flat for Tuesday with no noted donations for Election Day. As for DeCastro, all is not lost. With the apparent pending election of Donald Trump to the United States presidency, DeCastro has a glimmer of hope. He has long stated that a second Trump term would bring about massive crackdowns on First Amendment freedoms and the need for his army of auditors. If he is correct, there will be a growing need for his First Amendment auditing teachings if the practice manages to stay alive with the presumed Trump crackdowns on freedoms. It will be interesting to observe as he attempts to save the rebrand with the new developments. We still need your help. Despite the GoFundMe market being dead, this publication is funded by your donations along with what little we make from our YouTube channel per month. While we did achieve full monetization on YouTube, we still need help to get through monthly expenses and keeping the lights on to bring you the paper and the newscast each day. If you can afford it, please consider donating to the GoFundMe run by this very channel. All donations literally go to keeping the lights on, eating, and writing new stories to feature here and on ReallyCoolSite.org. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch the advertisements on our videos, like, share, subscribe and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing and we thank you in advance for pitching in.
Benson wears swastikas as Stancy Press, advocates for the homeless Regan Benson and Elizabeth Aurora Transparency. Canellis wore homemade sandwich board signs adorned with swastikas proclaiming that they were the Stancy Press as they entered the Englewood City Council chambers Monday night. The pair were accompanied by a number of homeless people from the Denver area and went live after setting up multiple cameras in the designated press area within the chambers. After a bit of trouble with the Wi-Fi connection, initially blamed by Benson as a conspiracy by the city council to limit the press from covering their activities, Benson set up her computer with her back to the council, showing her list of brown shirts, essentially a list of names of city council members and administrators, as displayed on the sign she was wearing on her back. Benson and company were the primary speakers during the public speaking portion of the event. The 3 homeless people from Denver made very serious statements with real concerns about homeless in the Denver and Englewood areas. Canellis and Benson? Not so much. Up first, Benson, still adorned in her swastika-covered sandwich boards, attacked the recent decision by city manager Sean Lewis to ban recording from the Englewood Civic Center and other Englewood properties. She promised coming federal civil rights lawsuits briefly touched on homeless residents in the area, as she said that Englewood had no plans for a severe weather alert for later that night. Instead of spending her time addressing her topics, she again stood at the podium, wasting the rest of her time clapping for herself, with Canellis briefly joining in. Canellis stood at the podium, again adorned in sandwich boards covered in swastikas and messages targeting the city council, where she read the lyrics to the song War Pigs by Black Sabbath. Getting no reaction, she would then break into a white girl freestyle rap version of Fuck the Police by NWA before exiting the podium. As they were in the role of Stancy press, Benson and company could not storm out of the meeting immediately following their remarks, as they normally do. Instead, the group stayed for the entire 4+ hour meeting, only ending the live stream after Mayor Othniel Sierra gavelled the meeting to a close. Other than Benson's multiple federal lawsuit threats, there were no major events at the other than Benson and Canellis outfits. No reaction was made to the outfits by the city council, and it is unclear what statement Benson was attempting by again using Nazi-related symbols to attack those she disagrees with. Benson is currently fighting a 120-day exclusion notice she received after disrupting the city council meetings on multiple occasions. Floyd Wallace overshares about sexual activities. Sunday night's live stream by YouTuber Floyd Wallace featured updates to his thoughts on going to jail, his travel plans, and his controversial belief that he can detect if a woman has a STD through the use of his earwax. Wallace started with his standard flip-flop on going to jail. When we last left off, he said he wanted to have his blind plea deal done immediately so he could go to jail early. Through this, he estimated he'd be out of jail for his birthday, which he could spend in Colombia. This time, the YouTuber claimed he was shown the body cam footage of his arrest by his lawyer and declared himself innocent of all the charges. He said that the police are charging him for obstruction, but there's no evidence that he did anything to obstruct from his own analyzation of what he saw. Flip-flopping, he went from demanding a jury trial instead of having the judge decide his sentencing at his November 12, 2024 hearing. Unless he gets a good deal from the judge, or the judge decides he's not going to find him guilty, or Wallace shared his thoughts on how if he was found guilty at a possible jury trial, he could immediately appeal and be free to go on another sex tour for another year while the appeal was heard. He also pondered trying for another continuance to the previously set in stone November hearing, so he could squeeze another sex tour to Colombia and while waiting for a new set of hearings to determine his new trial dates. When asked about his long-term future, Wallace indicated that he wanted to go into information technologies when he goes back to school and work customer service until then. The YouTuber asked for donations, this time for the fees to cover his probation costs. As of last check, he owed $280 with $40 of that listed as a delinquent payment. Wallace was distributing the link to the payment site for his fans to make direct payments to the fund, assuring them that they pay the fee for him. He'll be off probation in January. In typical Wallace fashion, he overshared stories of his sexual experiences, sharing a graphic story of performing oral sex on a Polish woman and sharing his earwax theory. The disproven theory, don't Google it, involves the placement of a man's earwax in a woman's genitals to determine if she has a sexually transmitted disease. Wallace said he'd be streaming again on a more regular basis now that he was sure he would be able to delay his time in jail. And we're back. We've had quite the evening into the morning with all sorts of things going on in the real world. Since we're all stepping on each other's toes, and no one likes a steppy AI, we're out of here for another day. Have a wonderful day all.